Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This video I will be introducing this super powerful mesh brush v2 that I developed. Talk about the functionality of this mesh brush node tree, and you can download this on my Gumroad and get some discount in my Patreon. Even you are not download this, I think this video can give you some concept that how you develop your own node tree in the future. So let's quick take a look at what is the ability of it and what it can do. So as you see, this is like a Vincent van Gogh Starry Night painting, and I kind of like repainted this using this mesh brush. But actually I just I didn't pick all this color hand by hand. It just like it will sample the original image using that as a color template, and let's see some detail of it. So you can see it's pretty detailed and it's actual mesh. It's not like just some kind of shader trick. Let's see in the wireframe. So that is the wireframe, and let's see what else we can have. So that's my Instagram. I have make all this test. You're welcome to follow me there to see some of my other works. And that is the flower, and let's see in the shading, watercolor oil paint flower. And I just download a flower mesh model, and I use this brush to paint on top of this model. So I download this kind of like flower, and I just using the brush to paint on top of it, and I hide the original mesh, and I got this beautiful flower. Get into another functionality that is like you can make it this dripping, so that is like that, and I tweak around with the shader, come with this note, and I make it to be looks like a blood, some transparency, and you can see you can have this kind of like a water dropping, and even you got like the thickness in the 3D space. Okay, let's see a final example of it. That is the one of my most popular video on my channel, which is the it mixes 3D with the real life photo, and you can even use these tools to apply this method on the 3D photos, and it's even animation. Yeah, so that is what we're going to introduce, and I hope you will find these tools and this video interesting. So let's jump into it. So now let's introduce this super powerful mesh brush v2, and let's redo this as a demonstration, like a regular plant that you can draw as a canvas. So now let's create any object. Use this as a container for the geometry node. Use a geometry node, and if you have download this, you can see the mesh brush v2. Let's use this. Okay, it comes with material put in the slot, so let's create a material and just use this. Let's ping this. So that's all the function. It's a lot, so let's talk about this step by step. First, you will see we need a path curve, so let's create any curve as a curve, and we can rename this to be a path curve. Okay, then let's put into here. See this on the floor, it will be this curve, and that we can just delete this. Okay, so now we draw this curve on this canvas. So let's choose this to be poly and on surface. So let's brush. So now you will see you have something to draw on, and even you can draw on the air. Okay, But now you might see this brush is not on top of this canvas. We can see this target object. So let's choose this canvas as your target object. So now the tilt will be always flat on top of this canvas. Now that is exactly what we want. So now we have this material, target UV name. We will talk about this later. Let's talk about this grid X and Y. So it's kind of like the resolution of your brush. Now it's like 5. So if you turn this higher, you can see the grid. It just depends on how much detail you want. The ideal resolution will be something like this, a longer shape. So now we can just make a lower resolution. Okay, and this is like the thickness. If you see on the side, you can see there's some thickness bump. If you see it like this, you can see the brush have some uneven thickness, which is depend on this bump. So I designed this to be close to be the real brush. So top will have the thicker bump, and also the side of the brush, this side will be have like a thicker bump, and in between will be some kind of like a randomly thinner or thicker. So just like depend on how you like, you can make this higher. And this X bump, it's something more special. Let me just try something. You see this X bump, it's for something like this turning part, big turn. In the real life, the paint will stay there more. That is the bump for this kind of area. Okay, the fat, it's just like make your paint media fatter. It can have some more cartoonish look. And also this tip fat, that's only for this very beginning tip to be a more fatter media. This break tilt, so it will make end of your brush dry out, so it will have some break, so something like this. And it also affect the tips a little bit, so how it goes. And this is the for the side, like left and right side will be have some breakdown, so the middle will be affect less and the side will be affect more. And all this, of course, it's depend on the geometry node inside of this, so you can just find part you want to maybe have some more detail to control. You can go inside to here, so it's the break brush, and this is controlled by the side, so it's controlled by this color ramp and this noise, so you can tweak this to be like exactly what you want. But the reason why there's so many attributes to control outside is because I try to design this that you can just do this without jumping to the geometry node, which is make it to be a useful node. Next, the width wider, and this make noise for your thickness. And this W is kind of like the seed of the randomness. There is like a random width, and it have the noise width. Let's see what is the noise width. So the random width means each stroke will be have one random thickness, but the noise width means overall randomness. You can see something like this. Okay, and also this offset XYZ. So let's try to offset it. So if you see something like without the canvas, you can see it clearly. So just give you some noise to it. Okay, so you can make something very abstract. Okay, so that's the offset, and that is the scale of it. And all this W can randomize this all together by using this all random seed, so you can just tweak all this. Most of the random attribute is affected by this, like the color and also this break brush, and also some of the like the width. You can just tweak this random seed to make it random. So now let's see what else. And the tilt, turn down this noise offset, and let's use this tilt. Okay, so now it's no longer flat. It means before we use this target object, this target object is automatically switch your tilt relative to your target object. And now we have manually control the tilt. Okay, and let's turn maybe this to 0 and use random tilt. Each stroke will have its random tilt, and also it also affected by this W. Okay, and this is like a smooth tilt. It's actually just means you can smooth out your tilt, because sometimes the tilt is like without control. So if you see all this part, the tilt is also actually flipping. We use this smooth tilt to smooth it out. We can fix that problem. And also in other situation, so now let's still use this target object. So we have this by distance. It means, you see that the function of this by distance, it means by distance to your target object. So which is further away from this target object, it will have more tilt by this, and on top of this target object will be not affected by that. So sometimes maybe you will want to do something like this, like draw outside of your target object, but maybe not tilt it too much, maybe just like a little bit. So in this situation, the smooth tilt will be also a little bit useful. So you can smooth out this a little bit. Okay, so that is that. And try to draw on this human model. So now we draw on a human model, and now it looks not perfect. There's something we need to fix this. First, make sure you choose the correct model. The tilt is correct, but you can see there's some gap. It's not flat on her face, right? Now let's try to talk about warp. Bring the warp higher. So now we can see we fix that. Maybe we make it thinner. And now let's try to extrude this. Random extrude, it means the power for each stroke is different. Maybe you want some of it fly away more and some of it less. It's also controlled by the C. Okay, and let's talk about the warp more. If you try to draw something outside of your model again, okay, so now we have this warp, right? But why all this is not affected? That's because we have this function for warp distance. So if you pull this really high, everything you draw will be warped to your target object. But if you put this to 0, it only affects to some distance very close to your target object. So you can make it like that. You can make it more, a little bit smoother by tweaking this distance higher. And the final warp, just make it like super flat on your body. And the trim, of course, we want to make animation. so we can use this trim. If to the 0 means without the brush, and if we go higher, it appear. Okay, each stroke gives some randomness, so it's not start at the same time. And it also comes with this seed, so you can use this seed to randomize. And the solidify, let's see the face orientation. You can see it's only have one side. It's more faster to calculate, but if sometime you want it to be like a really solid, just click on this solidify. So the edge sometimes will make more smoother, and also it's become solid. Of course, it comes with the cost for your calculation, so that's why I have this fast mode. If you want to draw something so much without this fast mode, it appears with some delay, and also your computer will slow down more. But if we click on this fast mode, it actually cancel out the solidify, and also the resolution will be very low, so it will happen much faster. You can just have some very quick design, and after that you can go check without the fast mode to see, oh yeah, that's what I want. It will fast your process. Okay, then let's talk about very powerful function that's called dripping. Turn off this solidify first, okay, and bring up this dripping. So you will just see things are dripping. The first one, it's just like the power, like how strong of the dripping. And this one is called the top and the side and the low. Use a circle as a demonstration. So this part means how strong the power it is relative to your object's normal of the direction. So the top will be something around here, okay, facing top, and the side means something around here, which is point to the side, and the low, which is this part, point to the lower side. So maybe it's like the nose here is means low, and also some part over here means the low, and the top of your head point upward means the top. Let's draw this again. So now if I feel the lower part is too strong, I just make it to be 0.1. You can see it only affects the lower part of the dripping, and maybe I feel the side also too strong. Maybe I can just turn this overall to be weaker, but now I feel maybe the lower part can be stronger. And or I can just tweak this second one for the side to be lower. Let's go here. See, it only affect some of it for point to the side. And also for the top, let's try to draw something. Most of this is affected by the top. Let's see if I put it higher. You can see I have some effect. Try to use this loose edge. What is about the loose edge? Without the loose edge, you can see the edge of this stroke will not be dripping. If you focus on this top part and the loose edge, it will affect that. Okay, so that's how it is. And loose noise, let's see about that. So the loose noise means you can see the dripping. It happened something like this, like without dripping and dripping, like something like that, with dripping and without dripping. It's kind of like the noise have some gap, and some part is dripping, some part is not. But the loose noise means we soften the dripping gap, kind of like everywhere can be dripping. And this is also kind of like the smooth out of the noise. So the dripping is very powerful, and also it comes with trim. So the idea is like a figure that when we brush something, it will usually will not drip in the beginning, right? So when it's like in the beginning of the trim, it will not drip, and through the end the dripping come kick in. So you can make your animation like that, something like that. I think it looks very nice, like lava. If you find something like a little bit weird, something like this, we can control this dripping extrude to lower, so it will be more close to your body. This dripping extrude is designed to fix something like this, like they drip to each other, and I wanted to give some thickness. But of course sometimes it will not be too perfect to be like that, so you can just control this to fix that. And maybe even you can give it like a really high value for some unrealistic design. Let's depend on you. Dripping fat, let's see about that. So you see dripping fat just to mean how fat the drop. So the subdivide mesh just like subdivide this at the very end of everything. Things can look much smoother, but just don't go too high. Okay, and also this smooth is to smooth out mesh. Okay, so that's all the functionality without talking about the shader. And the shader part is very powerful again, and let's talk about that. To demonstrate the shader, that's using this Van Gogh's painting as our target object. So let's pick here, okay, and delete this curve. Draw something. Let's bring this material to the default. Let's take a look at the shader. We have some random color, so that's the index of your random color. You can randomize. Of course, it's affected by this as well. You can have like a more random color in the mix or less, or directly you can control this random noise texture. You have the normal, shouldn't be too high, it's usually about 1. So all the part you see is blue means I suggest you can tweak the value. So that's the random color. It's very easy to understand. But the most fun part of this, it's we can use this Van Gogh painting as our color. Sample the color of this painting and affect to our image, which is come with this part, mix texture or random color, and now it's mixing to the random color. Now let's go to the 0. It should be this painting, but now it's purple. It means Now we don't have this sample image texture. If we go over here to this painting, which is the same as this, okay, same as this painting. So let's go to this mesh brush and ping this, and now let's pick this as the image. So now you can see we actually sample this color as our brush. Let's take a look at this note. You see, target object have to be picked on this target object and also this target UV name. Let's take a look at this UV name. Is default called UV map. That's because Blender default name for the UV map is called UV map. So let's go to this picture. See if you change the UV name, or if you import your other model have different UV name. See about this. So maybe the UV name, let's call this, and then it doesn't work correctly, so we have to copy this name here and name this as the same as your target object. So that's sometimes you might find why it's not working. That's maybe it's because of this UV name. Okay, so now let's repaint this again to see what is going on. Let's go to the curve, let's paint this, and let's go to the curve. Here is yellow, right? So when we start here, we pick up the yellow and we just like brush it out, and it will pick up some color along to your brush. So we start with white. Let's see, it's the same color as that. Come with blue, dark blue. Your brush will be blue. And something about this width factor I didn't mention before. If it goes to like a 1, it means the tip is wider and the end is thinner. And if go to 0, it means it's treated evenly. If goes to the -1, it's kind of like opposite. The end will be wider, you know. So I think you get the idea of it. Of the black area, that's because the normal is very too powerful. Let's make it weaker, so the shadow will not be too strong. Okay, it looks kind of good, but you want to adjust it more, maybe pick up more color along the way or less color. You just tweak this brush mix A or B. So if both goes to 0, it means it will not pick up the color along the way. Just like pick up the color in the very beginning of your stroke. And now you can mix this little. Other functionality, maybe the AO. Let's try to see the color of the AO. Yeah, so in this case, it looks like more like older painting compared to this. It kind of like have the dust. Right, and let's try what is all this about. This other part is just like some setup. I feel that it's interesting, so I save it. You can design your own other setup, which is something like I do for other picture, like a blood or something. You see different attribute. You can see you have some mask that you can use to tweak your color. Use this. Okay, so just duplicate this and to the maybe to the alpha, you can see something like that. Depending on you, just give you some idea that you can use some different attribute. Okay, so that is the mesh brush V2. It's very important to me, and I hope you download this and have fun. If you join my Patreon, you can get discount. Because it's too complicated, I couldn't make a full tutorial for this, but I might break it down in the future. Thank you for watching through this video and support me. See you in the future. Bye bye.